Hey, what is up, guys? It is Card Shuffler 99 here. Today, we are going to show you guys how Dan White performed his trick, his chalkboard card trick on the Jimmy Fallon show about 4 months ago, I believe. Now, for all our subscribers out there, this is really, you're not really going to learn too much about performing a trick here. So if you don't want to watch this, feel free, you can leave. But this is really more of just something where you can learn how we did it, but I can almost guarantee you guys aren't going to be able to do this trick yourself. But if you're interested in learning exactly how we did this trick, stay tuned. We will tell you guys exactly how it's done, step by step. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty big. If you haven't seen the trick yourself, we'll have the link down in the description section below. And feel free to let us know, your thoughts on our reveal. Let us know if you think we're right, if you think we're wrong, why. And yeah, just if you aren't subscribed, make sure you subscribe to the channel for daily uploads, giveaways, live streams, all that fun stuff. And anyway, let's get started. So he starts the trick, and he has Jimmy Fallon go ahead. This is Dan White. Dan White has Jimmy Fallon go ahead and select a random card out of a Cards Against Humanity deck. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically just a deck that has like certain words on it. And what he does is he tells Jimmy to sign the card with his initials, and he also says to write the first word that comes to his mind when he thinks of what's written on the card. In this case, he picked a card. The card said Zesty Breakfast Burrito, and he decided to write spicy, and then, yes, he signed his initials, right? From there, Dan White pretends to shuffle it into the deck, when in reality, if you look, when he first takes the card, he actually palms it off, and it actually ends up going in his sleeve, okay? So he puts it in his sleeve, and generally what happens is people think it's still inside the deck, and then he puts it back in the box, when in reality it's with him, it's palmed, or it's in his sleeve, right? Now what does he do? There's two ways this could have been done. I'm going to go over the less plausible method or the less accurate method first, just to get that over with. So if you don't want to hear this, you can just move on. But basically what this is if you think about it, late night talk show hosts such as Jimmy Fallon, their target audience is the people at home. They have very minimal audiences, and you could tell when they went around, the audience was extremely small, right? And if you think about it, what is the goal of the trick? Well, what is the goal to do with the card? When he has the card in his sleeve or it's palmed, he has to get that card to the person in the audience, right? In the beginning of the trick, Dan White gave a random audience member, supposedly a random audience member, an envelope. Now, this audience member is actually an assistant. He's in on the trick, and in fact, it could even be that whole section that's in on the trick. Why? Once again, it's target audience. The target audience is the people at home. Jimmy Fallon could have literally had a fake audience in that night the whole time, because they want to make it look good for the people at home. They want to make the show look great. So the people editing the show could have done something like that. Now, I don't believe that's right. Personally, I don't. So let's get to the more plausible method. The more plausible method, he goes to the back of the chalkboard, and what some theorists may say is that there's actually a camera on the back of the chalkboard. Now, stay with me here. What he could do is he could put the card against the camera. Now, there are actually people in this world, yes, I bet some of you really are these kind of people, who can forge signatures very well. Now, remember in the beginning of the trick, Dan White did state, please sign your initials. Why initials? One, it's easier to forge someone's initials than rather a full signature. You just have to literally forge two letters, a J and an F. Now, Jimmy Fallon's signature is all over the place. You can literally see how he writes it. And in fact, his initials as well, you would just take the J and the F and combine it. So the person, and this person who's going to forge the signature can be the guy with the envelope, or it could be someone sitting next to him, something like that, someone in the area. And this person is going to look in like a phone or something like that, or a monitor, and they're going to see exactly how Jimmy Fallon wrote the word spicy and how Jimmy Fallon signed the card, because Dan White put it up against a camera that's in the back of the chalkboard, right? So from there, the person can go ahead, they can forge it, and they can write spicy, make it look the same, right? Of course, writing spicy is not going to be that hard. Signing it would be harder. If you look really closely at the way it was signed, it looked a little sloppy, like someone was trying to forge it. It didn't look smooth. If you look at the way Jimmy Fallon was writing his signature, it looked really smooth. Like Jimmy Fallon was just going, he was doing his signature. It looked smooth, it looked fluid. Look at the end of the video where they had the picture where Jimmy Fallon showed the card at the end to everybody. That would be the forged card. The signature does not look smooth at all. It looks rigid. It looks like someone tries to forge it. But generally what happens is, let's say Dan White did put it against a camera, the card against a camera in the back, and the person in the audience is forging it. All they have to do is then take the card and put it inside the envelope. That's all they have to do. From there, how is the chalkboard done? In this world, what we have now, especially as technology's come a long way, we actually have self-writing chalkboards. That's right. We have self-writing chalkboards or electric chalkboards, stuff like that. Now, there is a specific chalkboard that it could be. It's known as the Lynx chalkboard. Unfortunately, we can't give you guys any information on how it works. It is kind of like a magic secret. If you want to know, feel free to look it up, the Lynx chalkboard. It's really expensive, though, so that's why I'm saying you guys probably can't perform it. But it's a self-writing chalkboard. He could have used any self-writing chalkboard, but the Lynx one is most likely what he used, but I can't 100% confirm it, and I can't tell you guys how it works. But what I can tell you is this is how self-writing or electric chalkboards will work. Someone, in the audience or backstage can control what's being written on the chalkboard. Now, they can do this with, some device or something like that. However the specific machine works, I can't tell you guys exactly how these things are going to work. But feel free, 100%, look up self-writing chalkboard. Look up Lynx chalkboard if you want to know how these things are actually done. I can't tell you on this video. But what I will tell you, is that it's self-writing, and how the writing gets on the board, I can't tell you. I can tell you this. What is written on the board is controlled by someone backstage. And 100% this person is probably looking at their phone, and they're looking at the camera. They're looking basically at the card, and they're basically, what they're doing is they're writing it on, however the machine works. They're gonna write it down, and it's going to appear on the chalkboard, right? Now, of course, because if Dan White put the card against a camera behind the chalkboard, the person who's forging it could be in the audience, and then the person who's controlling what's written on the chalkboard could be backstage, and they're both looking at the card. If you look very carefully at the last part where they show the card and look at the way it's written on the board, the Y is written the same. Now, how many people write a Y that's it's kind of like a U and then a line coming down? Very minimal people actually write a Y like that, but it's the same on both the chalkboard and on the card. That can be a coincidence, or it could be someone simply looking at how Jimmy wrote it and copying it and getting it to appear on the chalkboard. Now, I highly recommend, guys, if after you watch this video, go check out self-writing chalkboard. Go type in on Google or YouTube Lynx chalkboard and find out for yourself how those chalkboards work, what they do, and come back here and let us know what you guys think. But it is just a self-writing chalkboard that can write by itself, or a digital chalkboard, something like that. For example, actually, I don't really have an example, but that's generally how someone can do it. Basically, our theory is that Dan White just puts the card up against a camera, and this is behind the chalkboard, because Dan White actually goes behind the chalkboard for a little bit. He could put it there. It was probably in the sleeve. There are two people looking at, at the card, basically, because it's behind it. It's, in the face of a camera. Two people are looking at the camera feed. One person's going to forge the card and put it inside the envelope, and then one person is going to, translate what's written on the card onto the self-writing chalkboard, the digital chalkboard, whatever you want to call it. And that's generally how the trick is done. Let us know, guys, what do you think of our theory? Of course, we can't 100% prove anything, and we're really sorry we can't tell you guys exactly how the Lynx chalkboard works, because we definitely think that's what it is. Sorry we can't tell you which chalkboard it is, how it works. We're just not allowed to tell you guys. But, if you think about it, it's kind of implied that for a digital chalkboard, somebody can control what's written on it from, a good distance away from the chalkboard, and they can just control what's going to go onto the chalkboard. So basically, it's just a self-writing digital chalkboard, and yeah, let us know what you guys think. in the comments section below. Like this video and subscribe to Card Shuffler 99. Thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out.